Hi, everyone. Joe here. Steve and I would like to dedicate this episode to Snoopy Olivares, dog of the pod. He was one of the goodest boys I've ever had the pleasure to pet, to wash, to play with, and to walk. We hope he's having the best time with all the lammies across the Rainbow Bridge. Hey, welcome to Filler. I'm Joe.
And I am Steve.
And this is the place where we talk about things that fill our cups as creatives and as people. And we are at our finale for someone who fills Steve's cup. No, not so much for me, but the goal was to see why not and figure out if he could.
Yeah, and I'll say this, anything can be overflowing when you do 6 episodes and 21 albums of something. So
Yeah.
This is definitely a lot, and I am very excited to be wrapping this up. Even as someone who's liked the majority of these records, I'm still like, let's move on to other things.
Yeah.
So thank you to everybody who's followed along with this. It's been a wild ride, and we appreciate everyone who's listened and followed along and talked to us about it in our lives, and would love to hear some comments and interactions on Blue Sky or wherever. So spread the word and maybe capitalize on the fact that Bruce is in headlines right now for bashing Trump and getting people to go through this cycle again of what, I thought Bruce was like the all-American guy. Why is he bashing America? It's like, okay, you haven't been paying attention to who he is for the last 60 years, but whatever.
Speaking of getting commentary from people, Sophia from Eel Pit DM'd me when I posted the ad about our episode last week for Wrecking Ball, High Hopes, and Western Stars. And she said that the guys from My Son the Doctor said Bruce Springsteen is the king of pop punk. I didn't ask for her to expand. I just said, this is a take. And I put like the red-faced emoji and she laughed at it. And that was it.
I can't wait. This gives me an introduction to talk to them now, because My Son the Doctor is a great band. I would love to be like, I've got to know what you think about this, and then just talk to them about it.
It makes me want to listen to them and then be like, I see a lot of Bruce Springsteen in XYZ song, just to see what they would say.
Yeah. Also, we got to get Sophia on the show because we've talked to her about that, and I would love to see. Oh, she did tell me what she wants to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, look out for that. We'll have Sophia from the Eel Pit on the show.
Yeah, Sophia, if you're listening to this, Steve told me what you want to talk about, and I just got to say, God damn it! Like, can I catch a break? Can I just please catch a damn first Billy Joel, then this for 6 years of my life, and then I'm not going to spoil what you said. All right, so on this episode, we are talking about Bruce's last 2 albums that he's put out so far, Letter to You and Only the Strong Survive. And then we're going to do our album rankings, and let's close with our final thoughts and see where we both land on Bruce. Did I come around to him? Did Steve fall off? I don't know. Let's find out. Steve, you want to bring it home for a Letter to You?
So this album came out October 23rd, 2020. It is very much a record that is about Bruce getting old and having lost a few band members along the way and friends and whatnot. Like, just happens when you get older, you start losing people and you start facing your mortality. And so this record is kind of a letter to all the people that they've lost over the years and how they feel grateful to still be here and keeping their loved ones alive through their memory, which is probably going to make me sound like an asshole when I say that I really hate this album because it's a sweet sentiment, but oh my God, this was hard to get through. And I went into this not liking it and hoping I could be turned around, that maybe I wasn't giving it a fair chance the first time. You know, it was 5 years ago. I was a little younger then, maybe like as I approach 30, that I'll start to understand this sentiment a little bit better. It just, ugh. I don't know. What did you think off the bat of this record?
This started really strong for me. I thought the first several songs I was very into.
Really?
Yeah, and it's I again, I'm not trying to be contrarian. I was genuinely like happily engaged with it. And again, my barometer for Bruce has descended album after album as we've gone through this. So I haven't really been like expecting the best of him or anything special. But when I got here, I was just like, all right, we just sat through the Western, and what's he going to give me this time? And I did like the first few songs. By the middle to the end, it fell off very, very quickly. And we can get into it when we get into song by song, but there was promise there for me. I was pleasantly surprised, and then I was whelmed.
I find that very interesting because when it starts with the song 1 Minute You're Here, it was a surprisingly solo focused song for an E Street album,
Yeah.
especially as the opener. It was kind of somber, and it felt more like a solo Bruce song.
It did.
And it's very clearly about the members and friends they've lost over the years and whatnot. But I wasn't like turned off by it. I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm. I liked it.
But you seem to really like it.
No,
Yeah.
I genuinely, immediately, very much so liked 1 Minute You're Here. The lyrics, I like the melodies, the delivery, the production. There was no miss on that one. And I think it's because I really like solo Bruce. I really like when it's just him and an acoustic guitar. Like that hits since Nebraska. I think the only time that really missed was on Western Stars, and that's because the subject matter was just so left of center for me. But I loved 1 Minute You're Here, even though it was another basic Bruce song. But the message was like, that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. But I was with it.
It wasn't until the next song, the title track, Letter to You, that I started to have a really, really negative feeling from it. And it's because, I don't know, as soon as it started, I had like human touch PTSD.
Yeah, I could hear that.
It sounds so of that era, that 90s era, especially the intro. And I was like, but if this is a E Street album, why is it starting with a solo sounding record or a solo sounding song and then a 90s sounding song where he famously did not play with them?
I have a theory about
Human
that.
Touch and Lucky Town elsewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a theory about that. I think this is going to be his last album. And because it's going to be his last album, based on what he did over his career, and he might prove me wrong, because like he's already proven me wrong with releasing a secret album that was never released before in tracks 2 or whatever. But
yeah,
I think he's doing stuff here that he has not done yet or done before. So he doesn't really do solo stuff with an E Street album. He does this time. He doesn't really do that Human Touch Lucky Town sound with the E Street band. He is this time. And he'll wind up where he winds up. And I feel like I feel like that is reinforced by the time we get to the end of this record. That he's doing the things he hasn't done. And once he's done with them, he will have done everything that's in his oeuvre. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Because if this is his last record, I'm like very disappointed.
Yeah.
Because the thing that's always bothered me about this song is that chorus, because it's so clunky. And this is going to come up a lot throughout the rest of the album, that it just seems like he loses track of melody and like sings his words in a weird pattern. And I don't know, this one, from the first time I heard it, I was like, oh no.
And see, I liked Letter to You. I thought it was a classic song structure. It was like very verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, solo, whatever. And I was like, that's fine. You don't got to break the mold. It was very typical Bruce. I just wasn't burnt out on the same old tricks that he played on this album just yet. However, this is the first song on the album where I go, didn't need the last minute. And that's going to keep popping up on this record. So
it sure is.
He's already kind of spending the grace I'm giving him, and it's only track 2.
So did you think with Burnin' Train, because I have the exact same problems with that song, that, you know, it's doing the exact same acoustic strumming pattern that he did on the last song. And he's got these weird, stilted, awkward vocal hooks.
Yeah.
Did that stand out to you here too, or did you like this song?
I still liked Burnin' Train. This is I'm not and I think this one, there's a couple of things that I want to note on it. So for one is totally on me. I love 16th notes on hi-hats, and I love a 4 on the floor in an anthem. So he's got the catchy rhythm right there. So really, he could scat over it, and I'd probably find something to get into about it. But also, Burnin' Train has an ending. The song does actually end, which I was like, all right, like this is dumb that this is this new thing for you, but still, I'm fine. Like, listen, I'm not putting these on like the BS I Like playlist that I'm doing, but they're not bad. I'm not offended that I spent my time listening to them in the way that previous songs I've listened to. I'm like, you disrespected me by putting that on an album.
Okay. I mean, the only thing that I can really get from this that's interesting is I think what it's about is watching someone die and wanting to follow them to hell. I think that's what he's saying.
I think his lyrics are really bad on this album after listening and watching them. And I kind of tune them out. I'm not going to lie, especially on one song that we are going to get to in the later half that I was like, I'm trying to tune you out and you won't let me. So I didn't really pay attention to the meaning of the songs. I think the first one, like 1 minute you're here is very, very obvious and it's so sparse. So I was able to catch it. Didn't really pay attention to Burning Train. Letter to You is like another obvious one. But if Burning Train is him following someone to hell, that's cool. Like I'm fine with it, even if it is clunky, you know?
Yeah. You do point out a good thing about the 16 note thing, though. That is cool and different.
It is, yeah. And it's just, he doesn't really do it. He doesn't really do dancey stuff, even though he does like shimmy hips stuff, if that makes sense. But he never does like full on like, oh, I can like dance to this kind of beat. And with that rhythm, you can't not dance to that beat. And he makes it an anthem. So he knew what he was doing on that one.
Yeah.
How did you feel about his epic storytelling in Janie Needs a Shooter?
I hated this song. This was torture.
Tell me about that. Why did you hate it so much?
It was almost 7 minutes, and like I've been able to make a lot of excuses or like strongly defend the length of his longer songs. Not this one. This felt, I just wrote down like, why is this so long? And then why is this? Because I'm like, just deteriorating. What is he getting at here? I don't care. This feels okay. Not every song needs to be about all your dying friends and whatever. Like it's okay. You can deviate from that. A theme is a theme. It's not a thing that has to be on there. But this just feels like a song that was cut from Darkness because it's trying to tell a story, but it doesn't matter. Like it wouldn't have made Darkness because it's got the sound of it, but it's not. It's telling like this weird kind of, I don't know, young story of like being there for a girl in a way that like no one else in her life is. And I just don't need any more of that from him.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting anything more like that from him at this point because he's outgrown it. So I don't know why he's going back to this and adding it to his like possibly last E Street album for like no reason. I don't know. This one was hard to get through.
I didn't hate it. I questioned how he's going to make it last 7 minutes without boring me. And midway through, I was like, damn, if I'm not into this one, like if I'm not just like, what? I think because he's trained me to just sit there and go with the flow of his dumbass songs. And so this was just one of the like clearer dumbass ones because the production's crisp and 5 years old now. So it was easier to listen to than the stuff on Darkness. So I think this is like one of the my ears playing tricks on me thing for one. But I also really like the pacing of this album so much better than previous albums because we open up with the solo acoustic number. Then we get a classic Bruce song. Then we get a Bruce song where he's making us dance. Like he's giving us different stuff on these first few songs. So by the time he gives the same old crap on Janie Needs a Shooter, I'm like, you know what? Take it. Go ahead. Enjoy, have fun. Have fun doing your thing. I know this is like a B-side that you left off on the cutting room floor from whenever. I think it suffers that his band is not there to play it with him entirely. I think it loses energy because he's older, and I think that's going to happen a couple more times on this album. But this is the reactions you're having to Janie Needs a Shooter is what I've had for him for the last 60 years of his career. Or no, it's not 60. It's not that long. For the last 40 years of his career. So I think I'm just used to it, and I accept him for who he is now.
But I just vehemently disagree with that because he's done such good examples of this kind of stuff before.
Sure.
And has earned the lengths of these songs and has like told good stories. And like this to me just seems like a bad version of the typical stuff.
So what makes it a bad story to you versus another one of his epic story songs?
For one thing, I don't follow it.
Okay.
I don't really care what the point is. Nothing about it makes me want to dig deeper into it. And I don't know, it's very hard to put into words. And I think having a pretty strong negative reaction up front at the start of the album made it harder for me to get into things later.
That makes sense.
Later tracks, yeah.
I think you say it in a good way because what you're saying about having this like wall to get into the song and not really caring about it, honestly, how I feel about the majority of his discography. So that's why when I get to this song and I'm just like, this is a dumb song, like sometimes I can have popcorn and I'm fine with popcorn. I think I was expecting a steak and potatoes and veggies all of his career. And then when I finally shed that feeling and he gives me popcorn, I'm fine eating just popcorn because my expectations are so much lower than they were before, or different than they were before. I also said at this point, I thought these first 4 songs were better than all of Western Stars because it's not for me. I thought it was better than all of High Hopes, aside from American Skin, and a lot of Wrecking Ball too.
I strongly disagree. I really do. But also American Skin, that is a steak and potatoes song. Like that is a gourmet feast of a song.
Yeah.
And he's had that for forever.
But that's also on the album that he has that like stupid Frankie falls in love crap. So
yeah.
I'm happy he's given me steak and potatoes there. But the thing is, to me, that is an exception. That is not the rule.
Right.
So that's why when I get another one with Janie Needs a Shooter, I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's another nothingness song to me. It's just 7 minutes long and it sounds better, so I could sit through it.
Okay. Let's move on then.
I'm glad this is happening in the final episode. That like there's an album that I like more than you. like strongly like more than you.
Last Man Standing is the next song. It's going back to that 90s sound. I think it's a song about how he started playing shows as a kid and feels like the last of a bygone era of rock musicians. It's nice to hear Jake Clemens on the sax. He's Clarence's nephew that took over in the E Street Band. It's a really interesting chapter in the book on how he got that role and how he had to like really shape up to fill the big man's shoes, and has done a great job. But the song went on a bit too long again.
It felt like it was more for him than anyone else.
Yeah, which is fine because I mean the whole next record is a self-indulgent thing.
I would say his career is self-indulgent, but
yeah, no, I mean I would agree. It's just there's a lot of overlap with people liking different parts of his career, and we can get more into that.
Yeah, I thought The Power of Prayer sounded very similar to Last Man Standing. So this is where the album starts to break for me because I accepted Last Man Standing despite not enjoying it to the same extent as the previous 4 songs. But it's like the melodies were similar, the tones were similar. I feel like this one could have been cut, like just utterly.
I predicted that vocal melody before he even sang it.
Yeah,
like I think because he did just do it on Last Man Standing, and it's so cheesy that it actually made me angry.
Yeah,
and then. Sure, jam out for another whole minute. Fuck you.
Right, exactly. And it's like another spiritual song. And the older he gets, the more into spiritualness he becomes. And like I understand that. The closer you get to dying, the more you think about how can you live forever. And that's how people really kind of get into religion and spirituality. And look, I understand that. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum as they're trying to cope with aging and with life. It's hard.
Right.
But I really hate when he goes full gospel, and he goes full gospel on this one.
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't like that. I'm not gonna knock him for having faith. I
Yeah.
think it's very nice, his relationship with faith and spirituality and whatnot. I think it's a lot of it's rooted in his like Italian Irish Catholic upbringing, and he stayed away from it for a long time, and then like found his way back to God, and like explored it through his music to be able to find answers for himself. And of course, that's going to be on his mind now in his 70s that he's like facing mortality. So that all makes sense. I just don't care. Yeah, that's all I got.
So the next one is actually where the album fell off like utterly for me. I thought House of a Thousand Guitars was a dumb title.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, no, I'm going to commit to the bit. I'm going to watch the lyrics as they scroll throughout the entire song. He repeats so much in it. I don't know what House of a Thousand Guitars is, and I don't really care.
I've been trying to figure it out, and I can't. I don't know if it's like, is he talking about his house that he's filled with guitars?
That's what I thought.
Is it like, I don't know, going to the House of Blues or something?
I don't know.
To see a show? Like, I don't get it.
But here's the kicker, Steve. This is a piano-led song, and it's about guitars.
I knew you were going to say this.
Why is he like this? Why is he like this? He's in his 70s. Haven't you learned, old man? Pick up the guitar. Oh my God. And he's like moaning, House of a Thousand Guitars. Shut up, dude. You're not even saying anything.
Yep.
Oh.
And then Rainmaker. Oh, sorry.
No. I was just going to say, you're going to appreciate what I said here. It was after that song where I was like, I'm losing faith in your letter to me, Bruce.
It's not a letter to you, Joe. You're a critic, skeptic, contrarian.
No, it's a letter to himself because he's the only person in his world. Sorry, you were saying Rainmaker.
Rainmaker. It's another song about faith. and he fucking just goes, Rainmaker, like over and over again. Like this, like, look, I didn't have high expectations for this album, right? Because like, it's his 20th album. He's in his 70s. He's made decades of music that I love and I will always appreciate. And like, this will not change anything about that. That doesn't mean I have to like it just because it's Bruce, and I don't like this.
You said previously about a different song. I don't remember which one. That it sounded like car commercial music. This sounded like car commercial music. Oh, I said that
about stomp clap bands. Yeah.
Yeah, this Rainmaker sounded like a mixture of a Western and car commercial music for me, along with the Christian stuff, which I was like, I don't need this. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The next song is also Christian stuff. That's crazy.
If I was the priest. Yeah. You know what's weird? I almost like this one.
Why?
It's another like Darkness style song. So I like that texture. I like that tone. If he's going to harken back to older stuff, Darkness, spoiler alert, is my favorite Bruce album. So like that makes sense. But is this also about the new breed and generation of rockers coming after him? I don't know.
Couldn't figure it out.
I guess I can't keep up with it because it's too long.
Yeah. It had the same chord progression as You're Beautiful by James Blunt, so I was a little distracted.
What?
Yeah, it did. Listen to the verse chord progression. It might be a different capo setting or whatever, but straight up, that's the chord progression from You're Beautiful, which, to be fair, it's a 4-chord pop song, so there's nothing...
Right, yeah.
It's going to be like that, but it's just surprising that he's doing it so blatantly, which he might not have even thought of.
Probably not, and I mean, I don't think Bruce has ever done anything as annoying as You're Beautiful by James Blunt.
I think that's a lovely song, but that's neither here nor there.
You really are a contrarian.
This sounded like him doing Don McLean's American Pie.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that because he kind of does that already. So I didn't need him to do it more directly.
Yeah. Okay. The next song is Ghosts. I think he's done this on SNL, and I know I saw him do it live. And it actually wasn't bad when I saw them do it on tour in like 2023, but it sounds kind of weak here. And I think this is like the third reference he's made to Buckskin, which like, why does he keep repeating these similar things? And I hate nitpicking dumb lines, but I can feel the blood shiver in my bones. There's no blood in your
That took me a second to realize why you hated it, because I'm not a
yeah.
not a
I mean, I guess it wouldn't
person, but still that makes sense.
it would be stupid to say like I can feel the marrow shiver in my bones, but at least it'd be correct.
Oh, I actually like it if he would have said marrow. I think that would have been a good line.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be better than blood and bones just to be like that's not worth it. Whatever.
I was bored by this song, so I really don't remember it. He's lost me in the back half of the album, and this song was inoffensive enough to really not be remarkable even negatively for me.
That's fair. I think it's a better song than the title track. I think they're kind of the same thing because this one's about the friends he's lost and remembering them, but more of a celebration of still being alive to remember them before he joins them in the next life.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, there's not a lot to say. Moving on. Song for Orphans. So this one is interesting to me because the wordiness of it reminds me of his early Greetings era stuff, but much slower. And I was almost intrigued by it because I'm like, this kind of feels like that poetic, witty kind of lyricism from him. But then I noticed why besides that, it reminds me of Greetings era stuff. Structurally, it's very similar to a couple songs from it, like For You and Lost in the Flood. And was like, okay, that's his first album. This might be his last. Fair enough to go to the well, I guess. I don't know. I don't actually know what it's about.
Me neither.
But I almost like it.
I thought it sounded like an opening theme song for a sitcom based at a bar. But like not the Cheers theme, because that song slaps. So,
Oh, also, as of today, R.I.P. to Norm from Cheers.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
he just
sad.
died today.
Oh.
He was like 76, I think.
He was great on
Just
Cheers.
Bruce's age. Yeah. Last song is I'll See You in My Dreams. So I've seen him do this one. He'd end each set of his last tour with this song, but just him on an acoustic guitar and no band.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that way better than this full band version because this just has no punch.
Yeah.
It just feels bland and doesn't work as an ending. Like, I think if you had the acoustic song at the beginning and an acoustic version of this at the end, that'd be good bookmarks. No, this is just another nothing song in its form.
I thought the lyrics really worked for me. I thought those were lovely. I got the message. I think it was perfectly sequenced for once. This is the right song to end an album on. And this is the song actually that made me think that this is going to be his last album because it sounds like he's bidding farewell.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I'm putting out tracks too and sneaking in the other full length.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's not.
Yeah, just 7 full albums in one collection. Yeah.
But he's like he's not releasing them as an album, which he does care about how stuff is packaged because he does it all the time, even if I think it's awful. But he cares about the presentation. And so he's not presenting tracks 2 as an album. He's just saying there is an album's worth of material on there or whatever the case might be. But I don't think he's going to do another album. He might do singles. I could see that. But I can't see another album in this dude. And that's actually what led me to a big final thought I had about him, which I'll bring up later because I go more in about it. But I got the final thought from I'll See You in My Dreams.
Okay. Overall, I would say I remember not liking this album and forming my opinion that between this and High Hopes, Bruce is out of ideas with the E Street Band and needs to do solo things to explore new and interesting ideas like Western Stars, because to me, Western Stars works.
Mm-hmm.
While I wasn't giving enough credit to Wrecking Ball at the time and thought that contributed to my hypothesis, I feel like I couldn't have been more right about this album. It sucks and I hate it, which is just very funny that you don't. So, but I'm not taking nearly as much joy in you liking anything by Bruce as you probably are with me saying this is fucking terrible.
I'm not. I don't think I'm taking joy in it regardless. I think it's amusing. I'll say
then wipe that goddamn smile off your face.
I'm a cheeky guy. I don't know what to say. I'll tell you where it winds up when we do rankings and how that fits and how that works, like logistically for me. But the first half I enjoyed, then the second half really fell off, and it just precipitously fell off more and more, which he has been wont to do in so many albums. So
Yeah.
I guess ultimately for me, this is a typical Bruce album. Like there's, at least by my measurement of his output.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it is. This is just really nothing new to it.
Which I guess is also fitting for him if it is his last album. Why would he do something that really bucks the trend that he's made instead of just being like, nope, here's one more and it's the same, but it's about saying goodbye. And it's about bidding people goodbye and reminiscing.
So that's what makes his next album and the last one we're covering so interesting to me, because it's a covers album, and not just any covers, Motown and soul covers.
Ah, yes, the famous Black Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, that could be bad. And it made me really nervous when it got announced. And then in doing research about this album, found out that he's got most of a second volume of this recorded already.
Why is he like this?
I don't know.
Why does he keep doing
But that's the thing. If Letter to You is his last album of original material or last one with E Street, it's disappointing, but I don't need more, because he's already given us so much. So I'm okay with him doing whatever, and I'll just see if I like it or not. That's fine. What's cool, I think, about Only the Strong Survive, which came out on November 11th, 2022, is that he's going back to what he calls a lot of people call it the Great American Songbook of the 60s and 70s, covering a lot of famous Motown, soul, R&B acts like, who's on here?
I think Supremes was one.
Yeah, Supremes. He's got features from Sam Moore of Sam and Dave, who did Soul Man, Hold On, I'm Coming, like classics. And he just died this year too.
Wow.
Sam Moore in January. Four Tops and Jerry Butler, The Temptations, and was it Diana Ross? I think they're on here somewhere. Yeah, or we'll get through because this is kind of like the Seeger Sessions album in that it's a cover. It's hard to judge based on his merits because he's just covering them.
Yeah,
but I'll just go through and say who originally did all these songs and a few thoughts.
All you, because I put the first track on and I stopped at a minute 12 and I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
And that's fine, because I expected to cringe. But when he starts with the song Only the Strong Survive, the original was by Jerry Butler, I noticed right away he sounds like he's having fun with this. And it made me curious how true to the originals these arrangements are, because this is like a little disjointed, but I don't know. But then the next song is Soul Days featuring Sam Moore. The original's by Johnny Barnett. Weirdly, I'm noticing Bruce is bringing the energy of his interactions at a live E Street show to this solo covers record. And I think it works way better than his actual last E Street record because he sounds like sleepy on that last album. But this one, he's got some fire in him again. And I'm starting to notice he's really like singing very well.
That's weird.
In ways that I thought he was going to be like a little too tired and whatnot. He actually sounds good, strong, when he does Night Shift. The original was by the Commodores. I saw him do this one live with E Street and I really liked it. And I honestly like it quite a bit here. And I think this was the lead single, which is a good choice.
I don't get the point of releasing a covers album and having a single on it.
Huh.
Like I don't, because I think when you're putting out singles, like you're trying to move records. So I guess ultimately that is the point. They're just trying to move the records and the CDs that they're selling. But just like I find it philosophically weird to have a single for a covers album. I don't know. Just something I thought of when you said that this was the single, because I can't fathom there being singles on a covers album.
Yeah. The next song is Do I Love You? Indeed I Do, originally by Frank Wilson. Again, he sounds a lot stronger singing on this album than the last one. Then The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore. This is interesting. The original was by Frankie Valli, but it was popularized by the Walker Brothers. And it was at this point that it hit me like, this is way more enjoyable to me than the Seeger Sessions. And I wouldn't have thought that I'd care about this style of music.
Sure.
But that's exactly why it's so cool of him to resurrect and pay respect to this era of music.
Gotcha.
You know, like with the folk stuff, it's like, okay, I'm glad you're into it. And I bet it was really cool to watch live, but, you know, I'm not really going to listen to it. I don't find it that enjoyable.
Yeah.
This album, I've been able to kind of just put on in the background and be like, okay, this is a vibe. I like this. And I imagine that since he wanted to pay respect and homage to this entire genre of music that's had a big influence on him, and that a lot of it is not in the popular conscience anymore, he was just like, let me see if I can get any younger people into this. And I just think that's cool. You know, any kind of preservation and not trying to like modernize any of it, just like present it pretty much how it was, except this time a white guy singing it, is just nice.
Yeah.
You know, Turn Back the Hands of Time was originally by Tyrone Davis. When She Was My Girl was originally by Four Tops. Hey, Western Union Man, original by Jerry Butler. Okay, this is getting old. That's where it's just really starting to hit me that like, okay, I'm tuning out here.
Right.
But then there's I Wish It Would Rain, which is originally by The Temptations.
That's cool.
Don't Play That Song, originally by Ben E. King, who was mentioned on Soul Days. So it's cool that some of these artists are interweaving and referencing each other. Any Other Way was originally by William Bell. So was the next song, I Forgot to Be Your Lover. That's the only time he's done two songs by the same artist in a row.
That's also the second feature with Sam Morton on the album.
Was it that one?
I Forgot to Be Your Lover?
Yeah, was that the second?
Yep. Soul Days and I
Okay.
Forgot to Be Your Lover.
Wow, I must have forgotten to write that down. So yeah, that's cool. You got Sam Morton twice on here. 7 Rooms of Gloom was originally by Four Tops. I zoned out for a while until this song because it actually has some bite to it, and that's pretty cool. What Becomes of the Broken Hearted was originally by Jimmy Ruffin. He, I think, has done this one live for years because I remember hearing this before. So that's cool. He found a way to like bring back some of his old covers without throwing it into something like High Hopes, you know. And the last song is Someday We'll Be Together, original by Johnny and Jackie, popularized by Diana Ross and the Supremes. Overall, I like it more in Seeker Sessions. If I had to rate it or rank it, I think it'd be it'd be higher than Seeker Sessions in the ranking just based on my overall enjoyment. And I think it's a solid record. But again, how do you really judge it when it's just covers presented as faithfully as possible?
Yeah.
So weird note to go out on for wrapping up the Bruce discography, but
Yet another vendetta I have against him. He's messing with our podcast about him. How dare you? New Jersey man.
okay, so that's it. That's 21 Bruce Springsteen albums. And now to get into our rankings of the records.
I was thinking of doing it in tiers, starting from the bottom and up. And because like it's some I can say more than others. Yeah, this needs to be above this, and some I'm just like, yeah, they're kind of all like middle of the road here, or they're all really bad or really good here.
Yeah, it should not surprise you that the going from S, A, B, C, D, F tier, the B tier has by far the most albums in it.
And so that's good because so does mine. Or I didn't go by letters, but like by my like this is fine tier. It has the most in there as well.
So yeah, let's start from the bottom with I guess what I call the F tier.
Yeah. What's in your F tier?
From bottom to top, Letter to You and Devils and Dust.
Oh,
those
only
are the two worst ones for me.
Okay. And I think that tracks. I don't think you really changed your mind or any thoughts as we went through them. You hated them when we listened to them. And you hate them now.
Yep. But I will give Devils and Dust this. It has a couple songs on there I could see listening to again.
Wow.
And some that made me think, okay, he still got it conceptually somewhere on here. Where Letter to You, I have no need to revisit anything on that album. I gave that a 4 out of 10, and I gave Devils and Dust a 5.
Who would knew that the day would come that you would compliment Devils and Dust after trashing it so hard? Granted, complimenting it in the relativity of Letter to You. but still.
Yes, absolutely.
So my bottom tier from bottom up is Human Touch, Lucky Town, and Working on a Dream.
That's fair.
Which,
because both of those are in my D tier, but it's High Hopes, then Human Touch, then Lucky Town, bottom up.
gotcha.
I think High Hopes is worse than both of those. And then I think Lucky Town is slightly less bad than Human Touch.
I agree on that. I don't, even though to be honest, I don't remember. I probably did that if I included any songs on the BS I like. I probably was just like, oh, Lucky Town has 2 songs. Human Touch has 1 or 0. Therefore, I like Lucky Town more or whatever. Probably would have done it very pragmatically. Yeah. My next tier up is from bottom up, Letter to You. So it really did fall off, but now I don't hate it. We're in the, it's not that great tier for me. Then Western Stars, which is hard for me to rank because I do respect the attempt.
Yes.
So I'm putting it low, but I do put it above the stuff I actively hate, and I do put it above Letter to You, which I did enjoy a good portion of, and then it fell off. I think Western Stars I would come back to as an album.
Okay.
Yeah, I would try that again. I think I might have to just be in the mood. Like if I ever watch like 3:10 to Yuma or True Grit, maybe I would follow it up by
those are both really good movies.
That's what I'm saying. And I've never seen them, and I know those are the Westerns to watch. So if they make me love Westerns, I'll give it a try, and that might change. So I am owning the caveat on Western Stars, because I would even put that like to the side and say, we got to come back to you. Next is Devils and Dust, because I'm really just, I like him when he is alone and sad, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't hate it like you did, but I also didn't think it was that great of an album. And then truly, totally on the back of American Skin 41 Shots, High Hopes rounds out that category. And it's just because that one,
I can see
that one song. If that one song wasn't on there, that would be near Working on a Dream, Lucky Town, and Human Touch.
I almost want to put High Hopes in like the C tier at least, just because of American Skin. But knowing that the live version is better anyway, it can't get higher than D.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is that tier done?
That tier is done. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So C tier for me, this is like, it's fine or kind of bad. I included the covers albums in here because I wanted to put them somewhere. And this is just because like I don't know where else to rank them. So C tier makes sense to me. Fair. So I said from bottom to top, We Shall Overcome, The Seeger Sessions, then Working on a Dream, then Only the Strong Survive. Because again, Only the Strong Survive, I think is good. It's not something I could see listening to all the time, but I respect its existence and the thing he was going for on it. So it's the best of the
Gotcha.
To me.
Okay. Now, this is where I'm entering, I guess, your B tier level. And I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 albums in this tier. Because I just think, and again, I really...
Oh, shit, I have 7.
That's what I'm saying. The majority of his career is just okay. And it's really...
I think this is better than just okay, though.
Oh, okay.
Especially as it goes up.
Yeah. Well, you have more tiers than I do. So let me rephrase that.
Oh, that's
I think
true. Yeah.
This goes from being just okay to being good.
Got it.
Yeah. So from the bottom up, Wrecking Ball. Greetings from Asbury Park.
Okay.
The Wild, the Innocent.
Okay.
Born in the USA. Magic. Born to Run.
Whoa.
Yup. The Ghost of Tom Joad.
Okay.
The River, disc 1 only, because we forgot about disc 2. And then Darkness on the Edge of Town, rounding out the good.
You shut your fucking mouth.
At least it's in the top 5.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Yeah, I have 7, or do I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I have 7 in this tier. 6 of them are ones you said.
Yeah, that tracks.
And it's from bottom to top: The River, Born in the USA, Wrecking Ball, which I think is just funny on principle. That Wrecking Ball is kind of like a sequel to Born in the USA, and it's slightly better.
You ranked it as better. I think I ranked Born in the USA as better, and I that I feel like those could swap any given day. Because looking at it right now, I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. I think I agree more with your ranking. So I think it could change on the day.
Mm-hmm. Then The Ghost of Tom Joad, then Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, then Magic, and then Western Stars.
Okay.
I know that's kind of a hot take with Western Stars, but and kind of with Magic.
Yeah.
To put them both above Greetings. But when I really have to think about it, there's only like 8 songs on Greetings, and a couple of them are kind of a slog.
Yeah.
So I think the overall ratio isn't as good as those next two, Magic and Western Stars. But it depends how you weigh it, because it's got Blinded by the Light and Growing Up and Lost in the Flood and For You. I mean, and Spirit in the Night. Like, there's a lot of great songs on it. So that was hard for me to rank, but I believe Ghost of Tom Joad starts the top 10 for me. Gotcha. It actually kind of hurt me to not put Wrecking Ball in the top 10. It just missed it. But Ghost of Tom Joad up is the top 10 for me.
Okay. For me, it's The Wild the Innocent as the 10 and up.
Okay, I'm glad that made the top 10 then.
Yeah. Which was hard for me too. I think Magic is what kicked Greetings out of the top 10, which is also funny.
Yeah, weirdly, me too. I think that's the only one we have the same place for, is Magic at number 8.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's a good album. Like, I'm not going to fight
it. It is a good album. And like, I didn't think you thought so, but I guess you put it at 8 from a place of like, okay, I guess, where mine's like, all right, where does this go in the top 10?
That's what I'm saying. And I'm ranking it in terms of like my enjoyment level too. Like, I enjoyed Magic more than I enjoyed Greetings. I don't think Greetings was that strong of a debut album. I think it had some awesome moments, but overall, The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle was a better album, and that was his sophomore album,
agree.
You know what I mean? And he only gets better from there. Okay, so my top 3.
Are you at the last 3?
This is my last 3. Do you have another tier?
So I have an A tier and an S tier.
All right, do your A tier, and then I'll do my top 3.
Okay, so my A tier is 3 albums: Bottom of Top, Tunnel of Love, The Rising, and The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle.
Okay, and how many do you have in your S?
3.
3? Okay, so that's your top 6. Okay, so you put The Rising above Tunnel of Love?
Yeah, 1 spot above.
That's a take to me. Wow.
I know it is.
Which that's nuts. Why does The Rising?
You know what it
Tunnel
is?
of Love?
It's the sequencing. It's the sequence. That stupid opening, Ain't Got You, not followed by Spare Parts. If he had done that, this would probably be in like the top 4.
Gotcha.
I think.
Okay.
But I just that mismatched first few songs.
Okay.
Was just really jarring to me. That's the only thing keeping it down.
That's fair. Okay. My top 3 are bottom to top, The Rising, Nebraska, and Tunnel of Love.
Okay. That very much tracks. I am kind of shocked that Tunnel of Love ended up superseding Nebraska for you.
Never went back to change my mind. I think it, like, every time I added another album, I would look at the top 2 and I'd go, nope, still Tunnel of Love. Nope, still Tunnel of Love. Every time. Wow. And even finishing it up today and looking at it, I'm like, nope, it's still Tunnel of Love. The one I'm most surprised by is The Rising hitting the 3rd spot. And I think it's funny that your one issue with Tunnel of Love, my one issue with The Rising was the Swamp Twin Towers song. Everything else I was like, I'm okay with.
I'm just really glad that feeling didn't keep you from liking the album. Like, it didn't put a bad taste in your mouth too much going through the rest of it.
No, because he rectifies
The Rising's
it.
number 5 for me.
Yeah, no, he fixes that feeling later on in the album with that epic conglomerate song that he does. Nebraska has to be in the top 2 because that shit's my love. And Tunnel of Love, I don't know, man. I am a sucker for any stories about heartbreak and romance, and he does a really good job of telling that story very intimately and very gracefully and very honestly, that even with that dumb pacing issue in the first couple tracks, I could put that on and I'll listen to it and I'll tune out for those 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'm like, all right, Tunnel of Love is starting. Everyone be quiet. You know what I mean?
All right. I respect that a lot. My S tier, these are like bottom to top, rated 9 and then 2 9.5s out of 10. Are Born to Run, Nebraska, and Darkness on the Edge of Town.
So we have Nebraska in the same spot as well.
Oh yeah, we do. Duh. Yeah, number 2. I mean, is it a normie answer to say Born to Run? Yeah. I mean, Born to Run and Darkness are kind of like the New Hope and Empire of Bruce's discography. You know, it's like very much like Born to Run is that tentpole album that sets up so much of what you know about Bruce. And then Darkness, if you like it darker and more mature, that's the Empire, like building off of things and getting better.
Yeah.
And then in between those two, Nebraska, I mean, there's nothing else like it. I just think the only thing keeping Darkness above Nebraska for me is that I could listen to Darkness all the time.
Mhm.
There's not a single filler song on it, at which there shouldn't be, because this is when he's shown the most restraint and care about compiling the right songs in the right order. It just paints the best picture and has some of the most poignant things to say on it. People are, amidst the whole like Trump bashing thing in his tour in the UK, people keep quoting his line from Badlands where he says, poor man want to be rich, rich man want to be king, king ain't satisfied till he rules everything.
Mhm.
And they're saying that to be like, yeah, no, this is who he's always been.
Yeah.
And he's always hated people like Trump. And it just goes to show the power of that album. I think that it is still resonating with people. It is still like, it is as much of its time as it is reflecting current times. Nebraska's only held off, I think, because I could get a little tired out of just listening to acoustic stuff.
Sure.
But the songwriting and atmosphere of that album are second to none. I mean, it's incredible. So yeah.
Yeah. I think Nebraska earns the number 2 spot just for inventing bedroom pop.
Pretty
just
much
flat
yeah.
out, which I'm fine with that.
Yeah, if my son the doctor said he was the king of bedroom pop, that'd be much easier.
I would go, yeah, I agree. Yeah, he is. Like that's the right answer. I think after listening to Letter to You, the album, and hearing Janie Needs a Shooter, I'm more excited to revisit Darkness on the Edge of Town because that's where he does that, but well.
Yes.
So that's where I think, like, now having come full circle to appreciating him doing that, now I'm in the headspace where I'm like, okay, yeah, I could put on Darkness. Like, I know what to expect from him. Whereas going into each album, I was subsequently like, where's the Bruce Springsteen that everyone's talking about? He's not here for me. But now I know I get it. So now I could be like, all right, now I can appreciate it for what it is. And to be honest, that this might be accurate for most of the albums here, that I might appreciate them more now having expectations instead of before just having the myth of Bruce Springsteen as the lead-in to all of these albums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So are we good to do some final thoughts?
Let's get into some final thoughts.
Okay. So for me, I found, and this is something I started coming to terms with on Tunnel of Love. On Tunnel of Love, I found that he is most interesting to me when his storytelling is supported by the arrangement choices, when the lyrics move with the music, things like that. Like One Step Up, 2 steps, what was it, 2 steps down? I forget.
It's One Step Up, yeah.
Right, yeah. I was just, yeah, One Step Up. Like in One Step Up, when he is singing about the other woman and then the other woman's voice comes in, immaculate. That is the right way to do a song, right? When he's at his most vulnerable is when I appreciate him more. And this last one is new. When he is edited is when I can get into him. And so this speaks to something that I was like getting into on Letter to You and I'll See You in My Dreams, is that I think he is a compulsive songwriter, which is awesome. And that's actually, I wish I were a compulsive songwriter or a compulsive,
me too,
just like short story writer or whatever. It makes for an awesome, prolific output. I think it's great. I just really, really wish that he had someone to tell him, no, that one sucks.
Yeah.
And I really feel like that's what's missing for him, for me. Because if he just had someone there to be like, you don't need that one on the album, that's actually taking away from what you're trying to say, and Bruce would listen to that person, so many of these albums would be so much better. There'd be a lot less, okay, and more, no, that was good, I enjoyed it, albums.
I think John Landau has been that person to a degree. And I think we'll be more aware of that listening to tracks too, because it's 7 albums he never put out.
Yeah.
Like that could show, okay, what didn't make the cut. And we've already seen that with the original tracks,
right,
and other like EPs and B-sides he's put out and things like that. So yeah, but the problem with Landau is like he got into his circle by writing an article saying, I've seen the future of rock and roll, and it is Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
So how much is he going to edit things down when he's a mega fan?
I was going to say, if your editor is your top glazer, he's not really your editor.
Right. So no, I get that. I can't disagree. I honestly feel that too, that like there have been so many times where I'm like, we didn't need this song. There's too many songs on this album. You know, like we said in the last episode, like, couldn't you put this on tracks 3? You know, like just to have more shit to put out, but like not stain or, you know, bring down the curve of your main output, you know. But overall, my final thoughts are, this just kind of rearranged what albums stand out to me in my mind. You know, I've been a fan my entire life. He was the first concert I ever saw. He's been an inspiration to me as a songwriter, as a performer, as a political minded person. And, you know, the connection I'll have to him because of it, building a relationship with my parents, and because of him inspiring me just to try things. And the fact that he does different things on all of his albums inspires me to never want to write the same song over and over. He doesn't always live up to that, but I think the fact that you and I can have wildly different takes on what works and what doesn't, or have different albums rank in different rankings, shows that there's something in Bruce for everybody. You know, that like when you put out as much stuff as he does, and a lot of it is good, there's something for everybody there, you know? So yeah, all this really did was just kind of, I guess, force me to rank and see which ones I really love, which ones I would really go back to, and which ones I could just be like, mulligan.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I don't know. This has just been wild to do. And now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you've been talking about this BS I Like playlist that you put together of the songs you actually like by Bruce.
Like to love, yeah.
How many songs are on that playlist?
Oh, good question. I'll pull it up. More than I think you'll expect. Okay. Did I put American Skin on there? Oh crap, I did.
Should be.
I did put American Skin on there. And I also put dude, I put 1 Minute You're Here and Burnin' Train on there as well.
Really? Burnin' Train?
Yeah, man. I
know you liked it, but
apparently I really liked it.
But enough to go on the playlist. Wow.
Yeah. In total, 39 songs.
Okay. So, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Is that enough songs for you to say now, I like Bruce Springsteen?
Ooh. Man, I'm really thirsty. I wish I had a Spindrift to pick up right now so I could consider the answer.
Oh, I do too, but I had to kick my addiction to it, and I'm in withdrawal right now. Because they wouldn't sponsor us.
I think if someone came up to me and asked me if I liked Bruce Springsteen, who's not you, because we've been doing this together, I think my like honest answer would be like, I like a good amount of his songs.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would say that. Like I'm trying to think of an artist or a band that I would compare him to. Like I can openly say I love the Beatles, and I can say I really like The Who, and I like Led Zeppelin, and I like Black Sabbath. And I think the difference is that I don't know every single Black Sabbath song, but I know if one came on, I'd enjoy it. Whereas with Bruce, if a Bruce song came on, there's a high chance I'm not going to like it. Because if I only like 39 songs of 21 albums, that we were exploring, that's still a small ratio. But I do genuinely like these songs. So there is that caveat there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I think I would say like I love Tunnel of Love, or I'd say like I love Nebraska and I really like The Rising, but I don't think I would say I like Bruce Springsteen. I don't think I could I don't think there's enough of him that I like to say I like him in total.
But does the ratio matter if you still have a solid almost 40 songs that you like?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it does matter to me because I can throw on Black Sabbath and hit shuffle and I'm not going to skip.
I see.
Whereas Bruce, if I hit shuffle on his discography, I might skip. Like I don't know what the percentage is, but it is definitely higher than Black Sabbath, which I'm trying to take a band or an artist that like I don't know enough of them and would do a deep dive on to learn more about them. But it's I think net on Black Sabbath, I will like them, and net on Zeppelin, I will like them. Like I'm not gonna. There's stuff on Zeppelin. Actually, you know what? I probably like Black Sabbath more than Led Zeppelin now that we're talking about this based on what I'm saying, because I would skip more of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But Bruce, if anything on Western Stars came up, I would skip it because I'd be bored. If anything on Human Touch and Lucky Town came on, I wouldn't even know it's him aside from his voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but on the flip side of that, if Nothing Man came on, all right, I'm down. If Worlds Apart came on, I'm down. If Walk Like a Man came on, if Dancing in the Dark came on, like all these different songs, like, yeah, I like those Bruce Springsteen songs. I would honestly, I'd even say I like his songwriting. Like I could say those things, but I don't think I could say I like him because I think I would skip more than I wouldn't skip.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is such a long-winded answer, and I'm not trying to be contrarian, but it's like I can't say with my full gut, yeah, I like Bruce Springsteen. You know what I mean?
I got you. I mean, to be fair, I would do a lot of skips too, and I love him. But some of those skips would be because like, oh, if Moonlight Motel comes out, I'm gonna cry, so I can't listen to this right now. You know? But no, I respect that. I think, you know, you stay true to your tastes and you've stayed open through this whole very long series. And so I promise for the next couple episodes, we'll talk about whatever the hell you want, because this has been a lot of me. But no, you've stayed open. You've been thoughtful about it. And I really appreciate it. And I think you were more forgiving of my vitriol toward Blink than I was toward your feelings about Bruce. But in the end, I also kind of have to begrudgingly say I like Blink 182. But at the same time, when you say it like that about like, would I skip this? Yeah, there'd probably be a lot of skips for Blink, but I think you would too.
I would skip a lot of Blink. I would skip like whole albums of Blink. Like,
oh yeah,
you know,
and we know which ones.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because I was going to ask if I was able to maintain being open to it. I really struggled in the 2000s. There was like, I was really like, I don't want to do this anymore. I need a break. I got to Pete Seeger, and I was so pissed off with that album. And like, to your credit, you were like, yeah, it's inessential. Don't worry about it. So good. But it was really, really hard to continuously listen to someone who I had such strong feelings about for so long, and they were so negative, while really trying to be like, maybe there's something there. Like, so it pushed me to grow in a positive way, despite the challenges I faced with it.
Okay, so here's a question.
Yeah.
And then we can wrap up.
Sure.
If we were to do this again with another band that we deep dive into a discography, should we do a band that we both already like and see how our feelings change? Or a band we both don't like and see if we find something? Because I think this one-sided thing, it's worked for these two, but it'd be just too much of the same. Right. What would be more interesting? Like if we both...
That was also our deal. So that was like if we're doing it like you get this one, I get that one, and then the rest, like from there, it is what it is. But I think for me, if we already both like something, unless it is a really either esoteric thing or something we equally have not listened to in so long and not engaged with in so long that it's like essentially new to us, I don't think that would be as fun as if we really tried to genuinely get into something we were both like, no, this is bad. And we can tell you why it's bad in very direct and respectful and like well-founded terms. But you want to try us, like, and like try to see how we can get into it. Like, hey, email us, hit us up on Blue Sky and like say like, you know what, I want to hear what you think about that. And that will force us to try it because we both have the ability to sit there and say, I don't like this, but I'm going to listen to it anyway and see if I can like it, see what I can find appreciative in it. And maybe we'll find something and maybe it'll be Human Touch and Lucky Town. Like there's no promises, but we can try. So what do you think would be better?
What you said, something we both don't like, because the first band that comes to my mind is U2.
Oh man.
Like, because I've tried that. I listened to Boy and got too bored.
Yeah.
And was just like, I want to listen to The Cure instead.
Yeah.
So if anybody challenged us to do U2, but that already is a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, and we can't beat that. We can't beat that podcast because it's Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott doing it. If someone paid me to do U2, I would do U2. I think
you hear that, Spindrift?
yeah. I think more so like if like metalcore bands that like I just didn't give a shit about. Like that's something I'd be into doing because like I am definitely a heavier listener now than I was back then. Like if we did Deaf Heaven, I think that would be interesting because I know you like them.
That would be one-sided though, because I love Deaf Heaven.
You love them, but the thing is, it's not that I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. I don't have any ideas about them. Like Bruce, I was like pretty adamantly anti-Bruce going into this. I'm much more like, there's the last Deaf Heaven album I was really into, the one that you recommended.
Oh, you did like it?
Yeah, I did like it. The one before that I was into, but also now I like screamy vocals. Whereas when like Sunbather was coming out, I was like, I can't listen to this. I just won't appreciate it. Now if I put it on, maybe I would like it, like off the bat. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm into Deaf Heaven.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the kind of genre of band that I think would be interesting to do. Something that like is a blind spot maybe too. Would be fun to do.
Yeah, something like The Devil Wears Prada.
I like Zombie EP. That EP is like,
okay, never mind that.
No, but that's the only release of theirs that I can full throat say I love that one and I can recommend it to you. I couldn't name another song of theirs aside from Zombie EP.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been good. Next week, and I think it's going to be next week, so hopefully Future Joe lives up to this, but I'm like really, really rocking that book out, so we should be able to talk about it. Next week we'll have a good epilogue for the Blink Files, which will be like a good way to round out doing Bruce for so long, and then like kind of having like a where are they now for Blink, right? And then we'll move on to something else. We have like some guest stuff in the work. There's some video games that I know that you want to talk about. And because summer is coming for me, that means my schedule is going to be wide open to fully engage with video games again, which is I'm hyped about. So
hell yeah,
that'll be good. But yeah, this has been great. I appreciate you leading me through it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Joe.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Filler. If you like what you heard, please rate and review this episode to help others find it. For more recommendations and explorations of media we love, go to afterschoolspecial.xyz. Follow Filler on Blue Sky and email us at fillerpod@gmail.com. See you next time.